Hello, I'm Jim Bratton. Today I want to talk about safety during mobile and short-term construction projects. While all highway and street construction work can be dangerous, mobile and short-term work poses unique hazards to workers. These include exposure to oncoming traffic and multiple construction vehicles, and limited notice and short turnaround time. Work in these operations is fast-paced, as traffic can only be impacted or detoured for a minimum amount of time. State and federal Department of Transportations may require specific traffic control measures for short-term and mobile operations. We will discuss mobile and short-term operations in the context of Focus 4+1 hazards: falls, struck-bys, caught-in-betweens, electrocutions, and soft tissue injuries. We will also explain methods of controlling these hazards so that you will be prepared to do your job safely and help eliminate risk to you and to your coworkers. Falls in mobile and short-term operations usually occur as a result of a slip or trip while climbing on and off equipment, slippery or wet surfaces, or uneven ground. All falls, even falls from level ground, can be serious. Slips and trips may result in abrasions, contusions, fractures, or death. One of the highest struck-by exposures in mobile and short-term work is the risk of being struck by vehicles. In these operations, there are no barriers to protect workers from passing traffic. Often the only protections for workers on foot are signs, traffic control devices, aeroboard trucks, and a crash attenuator. Equipment operators and vehicle drivers moving in and out of traffic are also at risk. Blind spots, glare, low visibility, complacency, and inattention can all contribute to collisions between equipment, public traffic, and workers on foot. Struck-by incidents may also occur during loading and unloading equipment or materials. Workers must protect themselves from oncoming traffic, as well as equipment or materials that may slip off trucks or trailers. A major caught-in hazard in all road construction work is exposure to rotating or moving parts. It can be dangerous to operate tools or equipment if guards are not in place. Workers also risk being struck by backing trucks and caught between the truck and other equipment or stationary objects. Workers in mobile and short-term operations risk exposure to overhead power lines and underground utilities, as well as hazards associated with electrical tools and equipment. If the equipment is not grounded properly or poorly maintained, the worker may be electrocuted. Lightning strikes can also pose a significant hazard when working outdoors. Mobile operations are almost always physically demanding and may cause stress and strain. The risk for soft tissue injuries is increased because workers are focused on speed and may hurt themselves. The hazards we've just discussed, falls, struck-bys, caught-in-betweens, electrocutions, and soft tissue injuries can be prevented in short-term and mobile operations. Key to prevention is the hierarchy of hazard controls, including engineering controls, administrative controls, and personal protective equipment, in that order. For example, engineering controls used to reduce fall exposure include providing adequate lighting and ensuring that truck and equipment steps are in place and in good condition. An effective traffic control truck also provides a good engineering control. Proximity warning devices on construction equipment can reduce hazard exposure to workers on foot. Proper positioning of the aeroboard and attenuator truck is important too. Often this is the only physical barrier between traffic and workers on foot. Improper positioning can endanger everyone on the crew. Securing open excavations with shoring, sloping, or trench boxes can help reduce the potential for dangerous caught-in hazards. Electrical exposures can be controlled by locating overhead and underground power lines before using equipment in the vicinity. Administrative controls focus on implementing safe work procedures. Traffic control to separate workers on foot from workers on equipment, and worker rotation and release schedules so that no one performs the same job for too long a period. Administrative controls also emphasize safe work practices to avoid potentially hazardous exposures. To prevent falls, watch your step when walking on irregular ground. When climbing on or off a truck or construction equipment, use the steps and handholds if available. To prevent struck-bys, always be aware of your surroundings and watch for moving equipment. Use spotters when working around backing equipment or overhead power lines. Observe approaching vehicles, especially pickups for loose articles that may become dangerous projectiles. Keep your hands away from pinch points on machines and equipment. Make an effort to stay physically fit. Perform pre-work stretching exercises to help protect yourself from soft tissue injury. Avoid poor posture and using awkward positions for any length of time. Change positions frequently. Use proper lifting techniques and take advantage of mechanical equipment to move heavy objects. The final method of hazard control in the hierarchy of controls is personal protective equipment. When you're working on a road construction site, always wear basic protection. Sturdy boots with slip-resistant soles, hard hat, and high-visibility clothing. For added visibility, personal flashing lights can be worn. Wear eye, face, and head protection to prevent injuries from falling or flying objects. If you do a lot of lifting and carrying, wear gloves and shoulder pads. Wear metatarsal protection when operating a jackhammer. Mobile and short-term operations can expose workers to many hazards. Falls from equipment, falling or flying objects, heavy traffic, and moving construction equipment, to name a few. By paying attention to controls for traffic, as well as the safe work practices discussed in this program, you can help avoid injury and improve safety and productivity in your workplace. Remember, wherever and whenever you're working, do your best to stay safe. It's part of your job, and you owe it to yourself and your family.